Amy McGeachy, how are you?
I'm excellent. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm so glad to see you here again.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me back. It's always so much fun.
Well, and you just reminded me, you can see my face going red. We've done 2 podcasts, but we've done 3 recordings. How did that happen?
I don't actually know. It's all fine though. Life happens and you just kind of have to roll with the punches.
Yeah, I can tell you what happened. In full
Yeah.
disclosure, I forgot to hit record the very first time we did our podcast.
Well, I wasn't going to throw you under the bus. I know that it wasn't.
It's okay. I'm happy to throw me under the bus. People who listen to my show all the time know I start every episode with dad jokes.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you. We do lots of dad jokes here.
Yes.
And I'm okay to throw myself under the bus. As a matter of fact, quite often I tell people who listen to blame me.
Yeah. Well, I like that you take the blame for it and the credit.
Just take the blame. Yeah. But today we're here to talk about Amy McGeachy. And I am glad to have you back because I like your insights as a designer. And you're actually kind of a big deal. You've got your own TV show.
Well, I mean, my grandma thinks I'm a big deal, but I do. Yes. Yes. Trend has been on for 9 seasons now. And we talk to all sorts of suppliers, business owners, realtors on what's hot and trending, what's tried, true, tested, and then kind of the nitty gritty as well of the design and construction industry.
And that's what we're here to talk about today is the nitty gritty of the design and construction industry. Today, we're going to talk to the contractors, the construction professionals, right?
Exactly.
So, let me do this because people know I start the show like this all the time. Amy McGeachy, who the heck are you? And how is it you come to be speaking to all these construction professionals all around the world?
Well, I've been an interior designer since, this is really going to date me, but like 2004. And somehow I got into the TV aspect of it after being in interior design for probably about 7 years, which totally different, unrelated, but kind of melded the two together, which was so great. And I really love it because I have a voice. I can speak to the viewers about what we do and try and educate them at the same time, because I feel like a lot of sources out there glamorize it or dramatize it. There's lots of drama, but it's not the real deal. So I like to try and show my clients, the viewers, and even on behalf of the trends and the contractors, what's going on. The trades, and the contractors and such.
So a lot of people listening are going to have the same question as me, which is, so Amy, can you renovate my house in 20 minutes?
No.
Oh, first but that's how it looks on TV.
You don't want me to do it. That's the key. I can work with the professionals, plan it out like nobody's business, and then work to put out all the fires along the way with my team. You do not want me to pick up the hammer or, start to tile or anything like that. It is leave it up to the professionals. Right. And no, it cannot be done in 20 minutes, in my opinion, or it shouldn't be done in 20 minutes or a weekend, even probably not even a month. Yeah. Because that maybe even if the work process is a month long, the planning should be double that to make it work well.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So if the work is going to be a month long, we should be planning it for 2 months. So 8 weeks of, what is that? Designs back and forth, choosing our subway tiles or whatever we're going to be.
Exactly. Depending on what it is, most cases you have to do a floor plan elevation so that the trades can actually bid on it and price it out accurately. If you have all your finishes chosen ahead of time, again, they're pricing based on what you're actually using, not just an estimate or, some sort of guess at what you're going to use. And then everything's accurate. It's going to go smoother. We can actually see if things are in stock because that's a huge thing right now.
That's a huge thing.
Even if you wanted to do a kitchen renovation 2 months down the road, you're probably not going to be able to do that if you have to get appliances and such. As we all know, some of them are a year out. So that planning process is the most important.
How do you prepare people for that? We've had discussions on this show about material price increases.
Yes.
And then material substitutions.
Right.
I said subway tile, but you can choose lighting, you can choose fixtures, anything like that.
Anything. Yeah.
You've got something in your mind that's going to work and it's beautiful, but they don't have it in stock because it never got on the barge and it never left the country it was made in to get here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the tough conversations. How do you break that to a homeowner? Do you break it to them after it's already 2 weeks late or?
Well, I think that we're in a position now where we kind of can manage expectations a little bit better, because it's been 2 years now that there have been delays and setbacks and all of that. So at least the clients are somewhat aware that these are coming down the pipeline. We can't let them know what it is next. But if you I start that conversation in our initial design meeting, we don't know what's next. Here's kind of what has been delayed. We need to order things ahead of time, but it could be anything next. So then we sort of start with that, so that when we can't get our tile, okay, this is real now. This tile's 8 months out. Are you wanting to hold everything back and wait for this, or are we going to reselect? So at that point, it kind of is up to them, and they've kind of chosen that they want to just move forward with something else in most cases.
So you're kind of a pro at these tough conversations.
Yeah, I think it's really all how you do it. You have to have a good relationship with your clients, with your trades, with your team. And, there's no point sugarcoating it, because a lot of people, you're actually doing them an injustice by doing that. Like, just have the hard conversations right away and pull everybody in. But you have to do it in a tactful way so that it's constructive.
Let's talk about tact.
Yes.
Because, and this is a tough thing. I mean, imagine a business owner, which is who we're speaking to here. It's all business owners.
Exactly. Yeah.
They've got to keep their people working. They've got to keep their crew working. They have to keep the homeowner happy. They have to make sure their crew doesn't upset the homeowner. Right. And then we find out we don't have a plumbing fixture. And then we find, my team's ready to go and you guys can't even get tiles or fixtures.
Yeah.
How do you enter into that conversation? And the reason I ask you that is I want everybody to hear how you do it, so they can maybe steal some of your great ideas for how to have that tough conversation early.
Well, I think I like to come at it sort of with the sandwich effect, these are all the great things that are happening right now. There's great progression, that sort of thing. We do have a delay on this appliance. Here are our options. These are the solutions. This is what I think might be the best option. What's your choice? Or if they have no choices, here's what we need to do. I try and come up with a solution before I present it to them. Just so it's not like there's a problem, everything's falling apart, we don't know what we're going to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there's always something in stock somewhere.
There is, yes. Or pivoting. That's my word of, I don't know, since 2000.
Since 2000.
I feel like I'm always saying, it's like literally.
We've been pivoting since 2008.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's having to pivot at every corner and just make those decisions to keep the project moving. Yeah. And trying to be a couple of steps ahead, which isn't always easy and it's not always what you can do, but it's just bringing people in right as soon as things are happening. Like, I used to kind of ponder on it and maybe it will go away or it will work itself out. No, things are happening. We've got to deal with this now. Yeah. Without doing it in a way that it's creating panic, because people are already fragile when they're in any sort of build or renovation mode. It's a stressful time.
Stressful on marriages, stressful on people. It's their home. It's supposed to be where they go to relax and rest and get recentered. And then we come in and start making dust and they get finicky about those things.
Oh, yeah. And it's stressful for the business owners, for the trades, for everybody as well. And you have all of these personalities and you're kind of tripping over each other sometimes, as much as the contractors try to plan it out so we're not. Yeah. It's just reality. Life happens and you have to get people in there at the same time and such. And it's kind of chaos and a gong show.
What a great industry we've chosen. Chaos and a gong show.
Yeah.
Have you ever had the situation where you're trying to deliver some tough news? And so I like the fact, by the way, that you use the sandwich method. So just to reiterate, correct me if I'm wrong, sandwich method is something positive.
Yes.
On the, it's the bottom slice of bread. Then whatever the slightly negative or the corrective action, that goes in the middle.
Yes.
And then the bread on top is something positive again.
Exactly. So usually a solution or a decision that we've made to try and, okay, great, we're moving forward and we'll see if that works, and just be positive.
So quite often you deal with couples, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So absolutely. Have you ever had a situation where you're dealing with one person in the couple, but the person who's not getting on the phone with you or not meeting you is actually the decision maker?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And what kind of problems or opportunities does that pose for you?
Well, whether they're First of all, I like to establish that we need to have meetings together at certain pivotal points and milestones, whether they're the decision maker or not, because they live in the home. It even lots of times one of the partners will be like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's up to so-and-so, it's their opinion. Yeah, but you're living in the house. Like, it has to be, you just have to, everybody has to be on board. And,
right.
We have meetings in between where we're doing some of the legwork, all of that. Everybody still needs to be in the loop regardless.
So you preset those meetings, Amy?
Yes.
And this is good, because this is something that I believe in as well. Can you tell us a little bit about how that works? So I imagine you do that at the beginning of the process, when the first time you're at the kitchen table.
Yeah. So we'll sort of start essentially with the client. I always start with an initial meeting where we just sit down, because every job is different. It's a different scope of work. Some people need a lot more assistance and hand-holding along the way. Others kind of want confirmation and guidance as they go, but they're doing a lot of that legwork themselves. They already have a kind of a clear vision as to what they want, and they've got some of their own trades and that sort of thing. So from there, we establish what those milestones are going to be, whether it's, we're doing the initial design, floor plans, elevations, shop drawings that we're going to go through next, that sort of thing. Get okay on those, approval from everybody that's going to be living there.
Everybody. So you say everybody's got to be in, if it's a standard family where there's two people running the household, they both have to be there with you. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. In most cases, I've never had it where, they won't come. There's a lot of times where there's one of the...
It's those phone updates where you end up phoning one person and not the other.
Yes, absolutely. And then, they typically will talk about that after we've had that conversation. Most of my couples are pretty good about both being somewhat involved. I do get, like, oh, well, this is so-and-so's department. That's totally up to them. Great. But you guys both have to still, everybody's in agreement. Okay, let's move forward. Then we go on to the next thing.
Just so you know, I'm in agreement with whatever my wife wants.
You say that, but you're going to have an opinion later on.
Oh, I do, but it doesn't matter. Yeah. I have an opinion.
Doesn't matter.
It's just an irrelevant opinion.
Like, you had your chance to speak up. Now's not the time. It's done.
Oh, no. We've been through this before. You're not a marriage counselor. And
I was just going to say, at that point, it's out of my hands. That's
it's out of your hands. Yeah. I'm sure there's times you sat at the table and gone, okay, just let them go at it and burn out.
I'm a really good listener, and I'm good at, you guys do your thing. That's fine. I'm ready whenever you are.
Ready whenever we're just talking about paint.
Yeah, exactly. But they are big decisions for a lot of people, and it's like they're big dollar items and stuff.
Well, and I know that, at least in my mind, I would be afraid of being wrong, because then the decision is made and I have to look at this thing or use this thing for the next,
absolutely,
I don't know, 12 to 25 years. It's a long time.
It is. Yeah. There's a lot of stress and fear around making that decision.
So you preset the communication. You say right up front, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Rubino, this is this is when our meetings are. These are the dates and gates. We're going to hit this, and then we're going to do that.
Mm-hmm. And changes along the way, but
sure. Yeah. But they don't resist at all on that.
No. And we try and make it as enjoyable as possible so that everybody wants to be involved.
Yeah.
Even if it's not really your thing, we kind of, like early on, I try and get to know my clients too, so that, maybe one of the couple is more interested in finishes and that sort of thing, and the other one's more interested in the technical or that sort of thing. So try and speaking to them about both of them. So everybody's engaged and interested.
Have you ever had, and I know the answer because I'm sure we all have the same answer, a job that went wrong because communication didn't work right?
Absolutely. Oh, every time. In most cases, when there's a breakdown, it's because of communication.
Yeah. Absolutely. And we don't have to obviously get into specifics, but what was it about the communication that broke down? It took too long to talk to each other. We kept missing each other. They don't understand what I meant. Like, what were the things?
I think a lot of times it's assumptions and such. A lot of times it'll be like, I have more help now and such. So we try and check in every, week, that sort of thing with the clients. But, in the past, maybe if they're like, well, we haven't heard from Amy for 2 weeks. Whereas I'm thinking, well, if there was anything going on, they would give me a shout, thinking, it works both ways. But the clients are assuming, that I need to be calling them, or, it's just those things. Like, so I always say in the beginning too, if there's any issues, you guys can always get a hold of us, even if it's popping an email. If you're up at 1:00 at night, send me that email and I'll read it in the morning.
Okay, good. I'll read it in the morning. Not
exactly. I'm not up at 1, but
yeah.
But it's just making sure I'm checking into, not just assuming because you're not hearing something that they're okay or that there's nothing going on, or always checking in.
What about communicating with your trades? Now, obviously you and I can't speak for the tradesperson who's there, the plumber that's there, the electrician, or the actual carpenters that are there. But from your perspective as a designer, what works best communicating with the trades from a tradesperson? Like, if you now have the chance to talk to thousands of them in one shot, what do you want to say?
I think that coming from a team approach, so that everybody's there to work together to solve issues, or to try and not have issues come up, but to be able to work together, as opposed to a lot of times if there's a disjointed team, it'll be everybody's throwing each other under the bus. One of the trades like, oh, this guy didn't do this correctly, and that sort of thing.
Oh, so, they love that,
what needs to be done, or what do you need them to do so that your job's easier?
I always find it funny that we often complain about inspectors.
Yeah.
And then as soon as one trades guy has a chance, he's suddenly an inspector. Well,
it's true.
The offset for that's got to be 6 inches. This guy did 8. I don't know what he's thinking, right? And but we hate the inspectors, and suddenly you've got an opinion about that.
Absolutely.
If there's one thing that I like to remind our business owners about is to as best we can teach our people how to control their opinions on site. Sometimes that's hard.
Absolutely. And a lot of times to controlling it in front of the clients. If there's an issue or something, and then talking to your team about it once the clients aren't there, because we're trying to manage the client's expectations and the drama and all of that, because there's all this going on behind the scenes that we just deal with.
Right.
But I've had lots of times where you're doing a walkthrough or things come up and it gets addressed right there, or ideas come up that we've already spent months, walking around everything, but people are in such a fragile state. They take everybody's opinion on everything. Exactly. And it's like, well, no, we've already walked through all of this. This is the best option for you.
Yeah.
Don't worry about all the other noise.
It's the little things, you'll hear something, and I get this secondhand through the people that I work with. Where their carpenter on site said something and the homeowner heard it, and now they are like a dog on a bone, and it comes out like this. Jeremy said that wall's a little bit crooked, but the drywaller's going to fix it. It doesn't look like it's fixed. You're like, oh my God, where are
and as soon as you think there's something wrong with your product, whether it be cabinetry, flooring, anything, as soon as you think there's something wrong or there's any issue, then people start scrutinizing.
Yeah.
And seeing what else they can find. If there was this one issue, then everything else must be wrong, or I must be missing something, or.
Yeah. Well, and how do you manage that? Once that's happened, what are your ideas or tips for, the homeowner's got it in their mind that now the mutter and taper did a bad job because somebody said they did a bad job, like the electrician, some other expert on mudding and taping. How do you manage that with the homeowner?
Well, I try and address it right away to. Sometimes it's just managing the standards and expectations, because somebody else will have commented on like, oh, well, that's not a good job, or that's not how I would have done it. But that's actually standard. Like, that's what the expectation is out there. So looking at that and realizing like for cabinetry, for example, if there's a little bit of a color difference from one door to the other or whatever, like you should be standing back this far. If you're standing, looking and scrutinizing everything, that's not realistic. You would never, ever notice that.
Yeah.
Right. So
natural product. And this is a problem, by the way, with people in the stone industry, in the cabinetry industry, everything, even in the paint industry. Like every room is lit differently, and it's the same color in 2 different rooms. And why does this room look darker? It's the same color.
Well, and people see color differently, which is huge. Your neighbor walks in, it's like, wow, this room's really pink. What? The paint's pink? Oh, now I see it. It's like, okay,
Stop talking.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop talking to other people.
Everybody sees it differently, different times of the day, whatever. Like, it's just,
Yeah. So what I'm learning from you, or what I'm relearning from you, is communication really holds this whole thing together.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have trades that aren't good communicators? Like you're working with a crew that's just like very good at their task, really, really good technically, but in my mind, I'm seeing a grumpy taskmaster. It's just like, this is how our team does it. It sort of marches off.
It's kind of a role that I play a lot of times on my team, and probably every team should have at least one of these people, but where you're just kind of there managing people's different personalities and how you speak to them and such, because I have people on my team that they just want the information. They don't want the fluff. They don't want anything sugar coated or around that. Like they're there to get their work done. They don't want to chat and all the pleasantries. And then other people just need some camaraderie and, just like, let's stop and chat for a minute. And now they're good to go. And, or just venting. Like lots of times they don't want you to solve a problem. They just are venting and that sort of thing. And everybody on the job is different. So,
And then also importantly, those conversations often without the homeowner listening in.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. And being as professional as possible on that job site at all times. You can vent and such, off the job site. And I don't just mean out of the house. I mean, off the job site. Like there's cams and all of that sort of thing now.
Yell about this by text, please, but don't say it in front of the homeowner.
Like let's discuss it any other time, but this is not the time.
Yeah. Let's also recognize that sometimes for the carpenter, and I say carpenter, any of the trades on site, right? Exactly. It doesn't matter. Sometimes the homeowner doesn't make it easy. And, for years I've joked about the homeowner who was watching kitchen cabinets be installed and would make themselves a cup of coffee and pull up a lawn chair and watch. And we thought, ha, ha, ha. And then my dad got an aluminum roof put over his deck. And guess what he did? He pulled up a chair and he watched these poor contractors work. And I'm like, Dad, just leave them alone. He's, oh, no, they did a good job. And I'm like, okay, well, at least he said they did a good job. He's bored. He's retired. But he watched the whole darn thing. Yeah. And you have to think about, stuff happens on a job site. You drop a nail. It's not the end of the world. You didn't mean to drop a nail. But when the homeowner's picking everything apart, that starts to...
Oh, it does. And then that's when people kind of get defensive. And, especially if the homeowner's making suggestions and that sort of thing. There's one thing to just sit back and watch, which is a little high pressure. But, I've had people before too who are like, oh, well, I would have done it this way. Why is the plumber doing it this way? Or that sort of thing, right? Yeah. So I feel like we're picking on the plumbers today.
No. We talked about electricians and drywallers too. Yeah, everybody's getting their fair shot. They're picking on us, designers, podcast hosts. What does that guy know?
Always, we walk on the job.
Doesn't even have arms. Can't swing a hammer.
Yeah.
Here they are.
But yeah, so I mean, like, I think too, not just having somebody sitting there scrutinizing you all the time, but also when they're, talking in your ear, oh, they should have done it this way. Why aren't they doing it this way? That sort of thing. I tell my clients, like, it's actually going to cost us more money if you're doing that.
Oh, that gets their attention.
It does, because we've chosen people that we trust, and you need to trust them. Otherwise we need to choose somebody else. If there's a problem, okay, let's address that. But we can't be standing over. I can't watch everything. I have to trust that the professionals I've hired know what they're doing. They know way better than I do about how to, like, plumb a bathroom. Yeah. You do not want me to plumb a bathroom.
No.
Trust me. You don't even really want me to paint.
It's okay.
I can pick a great color.
It sounds fun. It looks good on TV. I'm sure on TV you do a couple of roles, but it's not.
It is not fun. No. And I get frustrated and it doesn't end well. So I leave it
I used to be a house painter, so I know. The lesson I learned many years ago from a kitchen and bath renovator, they wanted their systems to be tighter. They just, they wanted, what their problem is, it took too long to get a job done. And so we were working together to shorten that time. But putting systems in place was the thing. And one of the things they did, and they came up with, was in that initial meeting, they set the expectation that when certain things were going to happen, like when cabinets were going to be installed, because cabinets, it's kind of that it's one of those last big things. You go from bare walls with things, and then you've got cabinets installed. Yeah. So one of the things they would say is, look, on these days, you're going to have to leave the house.
Yep.
And you're going to have, the cat's going to get scared because the nail gun's going to be going.
Yeah.
And the smells are going to be bad because there's some adhesives. So you and the kids, I think that's a day you're going to have to find something to do between these hours.
Exactly.
And it worked so well because now they didn't have people there when they're trying to move boxes in and out and hang them on the wall.
Yeah.
People are saying things under their breath that are not necessarily the nicest words in the world. And
you don't want your kids to hear that.
Yeah. And you don't need the cat jumping up on the counter while you're trying to do something. Because then why did you touch my cat? Why did you get my cat off the cat? Oh God, just
absolutely
no cats in the house, no dogs. We all love our dogs, no dogs in the house, but you have to set the expectation up front. And that worked really, really well for them. And it helped them get expectations clear so that people knew, okay, this is something big happening. We have to leave today because they're going to hang the cabinets.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe even just go away for the weekend. You don't want to be here during that. It's going to be stressful.
Yeah. You've already spent 60 grand on a renovation. Go spend $600 this weekend and go away somewhere nice.
Yeah. Go to a friend. You don't even have to spend anything.
Go somewhere.
Yeah.
Amy, this has been great. If you, let's just jump very quickly to the TV, like the personality side of the Amy McGeachy brand.
Yes.
How does somebody get to be a tradesperson who gets chosen to be on a show? Because that's really good marketing and recognition of your skills and talents as that plumber. See, we're not picking on the plumbers or the painter or whatever. How does somebody even go about that? I don't mean your show. I mean, because these shows are all over the country, but how does somebody do that?
Well, and they're all different too. So I don't know if they are all the same setup that we are. For ours, typically it's people that recognize the advertising side of things as well, and the value of the exposure and see that, because a lot of people in our industries don't advertise. It's all word of mouth. They don't want more business, that sort of thing. And then a lot of people don't want to be on camera either.
Oh, that's true. I hadn't even thought of that.
Right? Yeah. Like I've had a lot of trades in the house that I'm doing right now, and they're like, whoa, because I'm filming everything.
Right.
And they scatter, they run as soon as they see the camera. So it has to be people that really want that exposure and the advertising, and it fits into their business plan and that it makes sense. Okay.
And so if somebody in Austin, Texas, or in Michigan, in Detroit wants to be on their, local or regional show, what do they do? Just contact that show and say, hey,
reach
we're
out,
great.
see what they can do. And a lot of times it's worked into probably the advertising packages and that sort of thing. So really incorporating it into your promotion for that year.
Interesting. Well, it certainly does. It would help. I would see it as let me go back to my background painting homes. It would help me identify my target audience. Like if you're working on the right kind of homes, I suddenly jump into that category when I'm seen doing that kind of home. And then I can use that media again and again and again and again. And
exactly. And you can use it and share it on your websites, on all of your platforms as well. Even though it's on whatever TV show, that sort of thing, and use it on everything. Use the show logos and as seen on TV, and just pump it out.
Yeah.
Clients love it.
Yeah. People love it. And then it gives them confidence. They say, well, this plumber or this electrician or this roofing company was used on a show. They must be good, or they wouldn't have made it on the show. Yeah.
And also you get your face out there as well to the viewers. So they feel like they already know you. There's no cold calls or anything. They're inviting you into their home now because they already know you.
Yeah. What a great thing to send somebody before that first meeting, right?
Exactly.
Hey, Mr. and Mrs. McLeod or Mrs. Hernandez, before I show up on Tuesday, here's a quick video so you can see myself and the crew and how we work. And
absolutely.
Just send them the link of that.
Oh yeah. Sometimes I'll show up at a new job to meet the clients. I'm like, oh, nice to meet you. And they're like, oh, no, we watch you every Saturday. We already know you, Amy. It's like, they do. They feel like they're welcoming you already into their family.
Yeah, good. So that sets things off in the right positive tone. So
exactly.
Getting in charge of your media is a good way to go.
It is just getting your work out there and letting people make the connection that you're the professional, you're the expert at what you do.
Yeah. And see the pride that you take in your work.
Yeah, exactly.
So good to have you back on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is 2 of 3, remember. But if somebody wants to, just 2, if somebody wants to find you in this big wide world, how do we find you, learn more about you, learn from you, hear what you've got to say?
Well, it's just a quick little Google search, but it's spelling my last name correctly. It's McGeachy. You can find me online. Our Instagram is great. We're always sharing projects and behind the scenes of the TV shows and that sort of thing. And we love people to reach out and talk to us about stuff as well, ask questions. And we love to have that commentary and conversations with everybody.
Yeah, and you've got quite the Instagram page. What's the handle on Instagram?
It's McGeachy Amy.
McGeachy Amy.
Right? Yeah, there's another one out there already, so I had to
flip it around.
Yeah.
McGeachy Amy, the TV show designer person.
Yeah, not the marathon runner.
Oh, that's okay. My son said to me the other day, Dad, I saw your listing on the internet, but it's not you, and it's a college kid who's wrestling.
Oh,
yeah. I'm like, well, it's much younger me. Yeah. Different weight class.
At least they're doing great things.
At least he's doing great things. Yeah, it's not a mugshot, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Fingers crossed. And then you also have McGeachy.com, which is your main website.
So that's McGeachy Design Studio. That's where our designers work and that sort of thing, all the design side of it. And then the media is mostly just under my name.
Oh, great. Well, thanks so much, Amy, for being on the show. I love having you here. You're a great guest. You're very well spoken. And I hope people picked up little tips and tricks from you that they can use on their job sites, today.
Yes. Hopefully it was somewhat informative and not just, out of left field.
All right. Thanks very much, Amy. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.